What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. This is Arrow, Season 6, Episode 10, Divided. I was not looking at all to getting back into this show. And frankly, we pick up right where we left off. Team is still separated. They're all doing their own thing. Oliver's trying to do it all on his own because Diggle's not ready, and Felicity is helping him a bit. Curtis is trying to help Diggle get his motion back in his hand. I don't care. I don't care about any of it. And that's the big thing about it is they want me to try to care about the team. They want me to feel something. Oh, the team is divided. We got to try to get them back together. I could care less if they get back together. And that is the big problem with this is they didn't do a good enough job in making me care about the team. And so this entire episode feels lost on me because that's what it's mostly about. I will talk about the Cade and James stuff first, just sort of get it out of the way. Mainly in this episode, what happens is Oliver finds out about Caden's team, so he gets to see, Anatoly's working with him, Vigilante's working with him, one of the other guys who's a villain I don't even remember is working with him. So he does see the team, and they also find out that the bunker had been bugged. So that's about the only thing that happens as far as Oliver's concerned, the only change. He does try to take him down using Bert and Ellie. It's not... it's like the Huntress's cousin, I think he said. She was his cousin at the beginning of the episode. But basically, he's the one in charge of the Bertinelli Foundation, or not Foundation, group now. And so Cade and James is trying to push in and take the docs from him for some reason. I assume there's something coming through the docs that Cade and James is going to need later. But Bertinelli doesn't want to take that lying down. So he actually goes to Oliver for help and tries to get his help in stopping Cade and James. So Oliver agrees to work with him. They try to stop him and ultimately fail. Bertinelli does give up the docs and then gets killed in the process because of that. So kind of a throwaway character there as well. Cade and James gets what he wants ultimately, but still doesn't manage to kill Green Arrow, which one of the guys that is on his team even says, "You just made a big mistake by letting him go." Earlier in the episode before we get to the docs scene. So I don't know why he's not just trying to kill Oliver and be done with it. It feels like he probably could if he wanted to. So I don't know. It does feel like he's just sort of toying with him a little bit and keeping him alive for some reason. I really don't know what's going on there, why he's not just finishing the job when he's obviously got the power to. But we also see that because he's bugged the base or whatever, he does know everybody's true identities, and so that's another thing. They're starting to figure out that maybe he was the one that leaked the information to the FBI agent that's been trying to come down hard on Oliver. So yeah, that's pretty much all about Cade and James in this episode. The rest of it is mainly about the team. You've got Renee and Curtis are talking. Renee apparently feels bad for how things went down with Oliver, and he wants to try to make it up to him by not testifying. And so he's trying to see if maybe Curtis can hack into the DA and get rid of some information that they have on Renee that forced him to testify because, he wanted to keep his little girl. We see Dinah finds out Vincent, Vigilante, is working with Cade and James, and so she's upset about that and hits him, and then he ends up knocking her out, so he gets away. There is a scene where Cade and James sees a video of her punching him in the face, and so he realizes that she likely figured out that he was working with Cade and James, and he's just like, "So you decided not to tell me about this?" He's like, "I've got Dinah under control. There's no button I don't know how to push." And Cade and James just seems okay with that, and we're just like, "Oh, okay." He didn't really seem the type to just be like, "Oh, okay, you know about this. How dare you lie to me?" I expect him to kill him, but he's just like, "Okay, you got this under control. I believe you." Apparently Cade and James is nicer than I thought. But yeah, so all this stuff about the team is just, I see where it's heading through most of this episode. I see that they still don't trust Oliver. They still feel like he wronged them and keeping tabs on them. And so when they say this whole thing and they start talking, it's just like, are we saying we're forming our own team? Is that what we're doing? Is that what's going on here? I'm just like, are you guys serious? This is where this show is taking it now. They're forming a new team with this with the new Canary, Wild Dog, and Curtis? Oh, seriously? And they're treating this like it's a good idea. Really? Renee, Wild Dog, the guy that doesn't follow orders, that's going to go do everything on his own. Curtis, the guy that's just the tech guy, he can't really fight. He has these little spheres that he built, great. But even Caden James has that technology now, so he's kind of lost some of his edge. And then Dinah, who's honestly a pretty good fighter, but she's got an emotional vendetta in this now, so she's likely compromised. This team is going to do nothing. And honestly, I was kind of laughing when they said that, when they're just like, are we forming a new team? I just kind of laughed a little bit, because it reminded me of that one scene where Evelyn, Curtis, and Renee were all like standing on the bridge and like, we're going to stop you, Oliver. And I'm just laughing, like, you really think you're going to stop him? Like, he trains you every day and whoops your ass. And you think you're going to stop it. And sure enough, on the bridge, easily done, no problem at all. And I'm just like, there you go. I feel the same way about this team. I feel like, seriously? You guys think you can do better than Oliver and Felicity? No. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, Oliver is sort of losing his moral compass a little bit this season, and I'm still a little bit frustrated about that. But he's still easily the best vigilante on the team. And yet, he can't do anything. Felicity, best hacker in the world. You know, better than anything Curtis can do, technology-wise, and she's still getting beaten by Caden James. And you think he can do a better job than... Like, it's so stupid that it kind of made me laugh that they're treating this like, hey, yeah, let's do it, guys. I don't understand. I don't understand where in the writers' minds they thought, hey, this is the thing that needs to happen. Let's do this. So there's this scene at the end where Oliver's talking to him, and he kind of lays it out on the table. He's like, you know, look, this is what happened. I take responsibility for it, but you got to realize there's blame to go around. You know, Renee, you lied to me about what happened. I understand you did it for your daughter, but because of your choices, I might lose my son. Dinah, I apologize for not telling you about the bug, but you didn't tell me that Vincent was vigilante. And he kind of lays it out there and says there is blame to go around, which is very true. All of them are not in the right. They've all got problems. But what do? Sorry, Oliver, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with things going back to the way they were. We're forming our own team. And there are a couple things about this. One, Renee, this entire episode, it feels like maybe he's starting to grow a conscience. Maybe he's starting to realize what he did was wrong. Because we saw Oliver gave him a second chance after he betrayed him. And then he betrayed his trust again. And I'm just like, okay, so he needs to be done. And yet he still feels like, I'm the one that was wrong. How dare Oliver kick me off the team? He gave you a freaking second chance. And so this entire episode, it feels like that's what he's saying. You know, he's talking to Curtis about hacking into the DA. I'm just like, oh, maybe he's realized he's wrong. But then at the end of this episode, he's still just same old wild dog, like, nah, I can't do that. We don't trust you anymore. What makes you think you can be trusted? Hello? The guy that goes off on his own all the time and does his own thing and doesn't listen to orders and doesn't listen to a leader, somehow you think you can be trusted? And that's the whole problem with this, is none of these three characters that are going to form their own team, none of them are interesting enough or good enough or make me care enough to be like, yeah, I want to see more of this. It just pisses me off that I have to watch more of it. I don't want to. I want to get back. Honestly, I prefer they just put the team back together. I know it would be kind of a cheap way to do it. You know, they split the team apart in the next episode, bring them back together. But you know what? I don't care about this whole storyline anyway. I don't care about this whole breaking up the team anyway. When they first did it last episode, I was like, this is stupid. Now they're like dragging it on and carrying it out even more. And I'm just like, I really don't care. Can we just put an end to this? Can we just bring everybody back together, put the team back together, and just work on trying to stop Caden James instead of dealing with this stupid drama? So, yeah, there's definitely a problem here. It just doesn't make sense story-wise. It's frustrating. It's stupid. I don't care about it. The final thing to talk about is Thea and Quentin are talking in most of this episode. It's not really that important, but it is something to talk about because I feel like it's going to come up later. He's talking about how he feels like Laurel can still be reached. You know, not his Laurel, but the Earth 2 Laurel, Black Siren. He's talking about how he feels like there is good in her. You know, there is a side of her. He has some old photographs of his Laurel, and he's like, whenever she let me go, this is the look I saw out of her. So Thea is going to try to help him sort of reach that side of her again. In my opinion, this could be something interesting. You know, maybe it's going to lead to a bit of a moral dilemma for Laurel. Maybe she's going to end up betraying Caden James in the end. I doubt they're going to do a full on, like, what's it called? Not reversal. It's like whenever a bad guy turns good. Redemption. I knew it started with an R. For some reason, words are not coming easily to me today. But yeah, I doubt they're going to do a full-on redemption storyline for her, just because, I don't know, I feel like we've seen that redemption storyline done way too much in all of the CW. So I feel like if they're going to do anything, they might do like she betrays Caden James for Quentin, but I don't think she's going to turn into like a good guy. I don't think she's going to start helping Oliver or anything like that. She may sacrifice herself for Quentin. Sort of like what we saw Malcolm do for Thea. But I don't know, I doubt they're going to turn her into a good guy, just because that would be way too obvious for me. But yeah, that's about it for this episode, so now we're going to move on to the next one, so see you in a bit. And we're back with episode 11, We Fall. So this one kind of once again takes more of the team stuff again, and just keeps perpetuating it more and more, except now they're plain stupid, because they're doing their own thing. They're trying to figure out a way to help out. Caden James is attacking the city, just complete war on the city. He's trying to get Oliver to wire him some money. He even says, and I knew this as soon as he asked for money, he went into Oliver's office, the mayor's office, and asked him for money. And as soon as he said that, I'm thinking, okay, what's this really about? Because it's got to be more than just money. Sure enough, he says, even you should know this is not about mere money. So I'm not really sure what this is all leading towards. And honestly, this is the part of the show that's right now the most interesting, is seeing Caden James's plan and what is he trying to do. Getting the Dachshund last episode, we saw that apparently he needed that because he's trying to cut off access to the city, and he's trying to, destroy the city pretty much. And so he's attacking everywhere. Frank Pike, one of the kind of the side characters, but it's a guy that when I saw him, I'm like, I know him. He's been on the show before. Who's he? And turns out I think he was he the police captain? Former police captain? Anyway, but he dies. He attacks all these different people, attacks council member. So he's attacking the city. He wants money wired into his account. In my opinion, I feel like it's more about breaking Oliver down. So it's not about him transferring the money. Actually, it kind of is. But it's about the action of Oliver, what it means for Oliver to transfer the money. It means that he gives up. He ultimately says, all right, you win. Because he even says, I'm not going to give in to terrorists. That is not what I do. And so to get him to admit that he has to give up and give that money to Caden James, I think that is what he was going for. Not necessarily the money itself, but it's what it means to Oliver to have to give him the money he wants. I think that's what Caden James is going for. He's slowly breaking him down and just showing him how weak he is. We find out, though, that ultimately Oliver is not the one who killed his son, even though he thinks so. Felicity apparently finds something where somebody sent him something that convinced him that Oliver killed his son. I assume we'll find out more about that as the season goes on. I don't really know exactly what is going on with that. I think she was having the girl from Helix look into some of the computers where the file was transferred from to try to find if she could find out who sent it to him, but she couldn't find anything. So clearly there's something else going on here behind the scenes that we don't even know about yet. And it kind of makes me wonder, maybe there's even somebody further beyond Caden James that's actually running the show, that's pulling the strings. Kind of makes me a little bit interested to see if something's going on there. But that is about where most of the interesting stuff ends, because then we get to the team stuff. Vincent contacts Curtis, because he kind of sets up this little trap, sort of, where one of Curtis's little spheres tracks onto his signal. And of course, they're all just like, well, there's no way he would make that mistake, so clearly this is a trap. And yet they go walk right into the trap anyway. And I'm just thinking, if this really were a trap, I think you guys would be dead right now. But he says, I'm working against Caden James. He's talking to Curtis. Says, I'm working against Caden James. I'm working undercover, infiltrated his group to try to take him down from the inside. Here's the thing. I don't believe him at all. I do not believe him at all. I think part of this is he wants to take down their team because that's part of Caden James' plan as well, is taking down all of Team Arrow, not just Oliver. And so I think he sent Vincent on his own and said, all right, I want you to infiltrate their group. I want you to pretend like you're working against me and give them some information that will help save some people. He shows up and kills one of the lesser guys in the main fight. He saves Renee's life. And I'm just like, yeah, this all feels like a setup. This feels like it's all just one big setup, and the team is just buying right into it. They're just like, oh, well, I guess we can believe him now. They're not telling Oliver who it is that they got the information from. I'm just like, hello? You guys are stupid. And here's the biggest problem I have with all of this. The whole reason they wanted to separate as a team is because they couldn't trust Oliver. Well, talk about not trusting each other. Curtis gets this information from Vincent, doesn't tell them, and then when they find out, they're all just like, they're pissed for a second, but then they all are just like, okay, let's talk about this in greater detail. Just like, so it's okay if Curtis lies and then comes back later and tells you that he lied, but when Oliver does it, oh, that's too far. We can't trust Oliver. Come on. Like, you can't be hypocritical if you're going to do this. If you're going to go off in this whole story arc where they're not trusting each other, or not trusting Oliver, and going to break apart from that team and talk about a team we can trust, and then do something, lie, and then not tell them about something. Hello, that is going against the reason why you formed this new team. That's hypocritical. And the thing is, they just brush it off like it's nothing. I'm just like, why? If you're going to do this stupid storyline, at least stick to it. At least be consistent with it. But they're not. They're just kind of blowing everything off like, oh, Curtis lied to us. We're all good here, buddy. I don't understand. And then they're lying to Oliver, well, not lying, but not telling him the truth about Vincent, which, frankly, I'm surprised about. It should just, if you really want to start forming this trust, then why not talk to him? But no, they just like, no, we can't trust him, so we can't tell him about our information. Why? Maybe he can help you with that. You guys are sharing information, and yet you want to keep the big secret. The fact that you're getting information from one of Caden James' workers, even if he says he is working against him, you're going to keep that away. It's so dumb. I don't understand why they're doing this storyline, why they're taking time to talk about this. And the funny thing is they feel like so cocky now that I just really want to smack them all in the face. Like Dinah stops the train by using her scream. The two trains were about to collide. She manages to stop them from colliding, which I'm kind of surprised that she was able to do that. Like, don't get me wrong, I understand her scream is very powerful, but stopping a train in its tracks? That's... we're pushing the boundary of physics here, folks. But the thing is, they stop that one train, and then they get back in like, oh yeah, we're the best, oh yeah, high fives all around. I'm just like, congratulations, you saved one group of people. Okay, so Oliver does that on a daily basis. Congratulations. Can we get to something a bit more meaningful? Can you do something that actually makes me think you'll succeed as a team and not just one thing? Where it was really only Dinah that did something good. The other two just kind of stood off the side like, oh, what do we do? And that's the thing, is that they're not a team. And it's not addressing that yet. They've gone on 2 missions together. One of those, Dinah saved the day. The other 2 didn't do a thing. And the other one, Oliver and Diggle were there to help out. So they were actually working together as one team of 5 like they normally do. And even then, I mean, Renee still had to be saved by Vincent in the end. So it just feels like they are praising themselves way too soon. And it's just really frustrating. Because the show is not addressing the problems. It's not addressing the problem that Wild Dog cannot be trusted because he's a lone wolf and he will never be a part of a team until he learns to work under a leader. Dinah will never be a good leader until she can learn to push her emotions to the side, not get so emotionally involved, and start working as a leader and, being cold and uncaring, because that's what Oliver had to do in the past. That's why he made such a good leader. Curtis will not be a good part of the team until he can learn to find some new way to implement his technology, maybe into his fighting. Maybe he builds some sort of suit that helps him fight, something like that. But his T-spheres no longer really work because Caden James also has that technology, which means he can hack into them anytime he wants. So I I don't understand why this show is not addressing the problems, why it's just sort of blowing it off to the side and just saying, yeah, guys, new teams, support them, because Oliver lied to them, and that's a problem. It needs to be addressed. And that's my biggest problem, is whenever the show treats Oliver like he's in the wrong, when in reality, he's not the only one. They're all in the wrong. So, I think that's about it. The only other thing that really goes on is, Oliver trying to help the city as mayor and Caden James just sort of reading his every move. The only thing I really want to mention about that is just showing Caden James and what a formidable opponent he is this season. It's kind of similar to the Thinker on The Flash, where he does seem to have every sort of move that Oliver is going to make planned out. The thing about it is, though, last season with Prometheus, it felt like Prometheus knew Oliver's every move. And they never really explained why. They never explained how did he know, did he somehow tap into Oliver's stuff. With Caden James, we can see he's very clearly a smart man, but it almost feels like he's a little too smart. Obviously he's a great hacker. Fantastic. But it would be better if they hadn't found the bug, or if he had planted a camera they didn't know about. So that way he still knew Oliver's every move, and isn't just like, oh, just as I thought, just as I predicted. Because with the Thinker, it makes sense, because he can see every possible outcome. But with Caden James, and even with Prometheus, they're just really smart guys, and somehow the show just thinks, oh, well, that means they can predict Oliver's every single move, and there's nothing Oliver can do to get out from under them. I mean, even Prometheus technically won in the end. He just, he managed to not kill anyone, surprisingly. But I mean, Oliver still walked into every single trap that he had, and in the end, he ended up killing himself because that was all part of his plan too. And I'm just like, Oliver never actually beat him. And we never got a reason as to why he was that smart, how he was able to read Oliver's every move. And I find that very upsetting. Same here with Caden James. I want it to be more than just, oh, he's super smart and that's all you need to know. I want it to be, no, he knows about this because here's a reason. He knows Oliver was about to do that because here's a reason. Instead, it's just all pretty much like the Thinker, even though he doesn't have that same brain power. So that is a bit of a problem, but that's it for this episode. So let me know what you thought of these 2 episodes. Let me know what we can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future error reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.